am Mary, and this is Athena's Bibliotheca, and today we are going to talk about all of my physical TBR, also known as all the books that I physically own but have not read yet. I know that some people have way less of a TBR than I do, and some people have way more than a TBR than I do. It doesn't matter to me. Like, if you're comfortable with your TBR size, you do you. I personally wish that my TBR was like half the size it is, maybe a little more than that, because I can't even read all the books I own in a year. Like, it would take me probably 4 years of just reading the books that I own right now to read all of them, and that can be a little overwhelming for me personally. I will say that I just recently actually reorganized my TBR so that they are alphabetical by author's last name. Am I perfect in this? Probably not. If you see something and you're like, Mary, that's not in the right place, I'm probably not going to change it. So we're down here because this shelf and the shelf below it on all my shelves are my TBR, but I do have some books that I haven't read sprinkled out above as well. I don't know what made me put a TBR book up there versus down below. I don't know. My mind just made it up when I reorganized my shelves. I did take all of the books that are not read from like my read portion of my books, and put them behind my phone, which is what I film on. And they're stacked alphabetically behind. So hopefully I'll remember to check where we are so that I can put them in the right spot. We'll see how that goes. Those are probably the ones that are most likely going to be out of order because I probably will not remember, even though they're staring right at me. Let's get this ball rolling. We'll see if I decide to put a number up here on how many TBR books we have. I think, I've counted them quite a lot, so I think it's like 170 something that I own that I have not read yet to read, I think. Hopefully it's no larger than that. I really don't want it to be over 200. I really don't want it to be over 200. Anyways, so let's get started with my physical TBR. So first is Ace of Spades by Farida Abeki Iamedi. Hopefully I said that right. Then we have Fairies, the Myths, Legends, and Lore by Sky Alexander. Amari and the Despicable Wonders by B.B. Alston. Best Fairy Tales by Hans Christian Andersen. Daughter of Sparta by Claire M. Andrews. City of Strife by Claudie Arsenault. Final Offer by Lauren Asher. Liar in the Hollow Court by Bethany Atazada. Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. Siege and Storm. Ruin and Rising. King of Scars. And Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo, The Inheritance Games, The Hawthorne Legacy, and The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur, The Tainted Cup, and A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett, The Fireborn Blade, and The Bloodless Prince by Charlotte Bond, The Darkest Minds by Alexander Bracken, Love Galaxy by Sierra Branham, Once Upon a Dream by Liz Braswell, Red Rising by Pierce Brown, The Storm of Life by Amy Rose Capetta, See How They Run, Take a Key and Lock Her Up, and The Blonde Who Came In From the Cold by Allie Carter, Bitter Blue, and Fire by Kristen Kishore, The Stormrunner by J.C. Cervantes, The Gilded Wolves, and The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi, Cardcaptor Sakura, Master of the Clo, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6 by Clam, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, Gregor the Overlander, Gregor and the Prophecy of Bane, Gregor and the Curse of the Warmbloods, Gregor and the Marks of Secret, and Gregor and the Code of Claw by Suzanne Collins, Mermaids Never Drown, and Fairies Never Lie by Zoraida Cordova and Natalie C. Parker, Kiss the Girl by Zoraida Cordova, Five Broken Blades, Four Ruined Realms, and Three Shattered Souls by May Corlin. Finlay Donovan is Killing It, and Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun by El Casamino, House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Yes, I am terrified of this book. The Girl with a Thousand Faces by Senyi Dean, The Spell Shop, and The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Thirst, The Night and the Moth, and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. I knew I was going to forget one, but I also have A Quick and Easy Guide to Queer and Trans Identities by Maddie G. and Jules Zuckerberg. It's really cute and illustrations in it. And then we have Undercover Princess and Princess in Practice by Connie Glenn, Grimm's Fairy Tales by the Brothers Grimm, then By the Book by Jasmine Guillory, then there's Malice, Valor, Ruin, and Wrath by John Gwynne. And we have Bride by Allie Hazelwood, My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, Tiger's Curse by Colleen Hulk. Forgot some more, as one does. The Mysterious Case of the Alberton Angels by Janice Hallett, The Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer, translated by Emily Wilson, Unhinged and Ensnared by A.G. Howard, Zahara, Amy, and Yuli by S.J. Jones, The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan, When the Tides Held the Moon by Vanessa Vita Kelly, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer, The Extraordinaries, and Flash Fire by T.J. Clinton, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, At the End of the River Styx by Michelle Kilwicki, Anastasia by Sophie Lark, Jade City by Fonda Lee, The Zodiac Legacy, The Balance of Power by Stan Lee, Stuart Moore, and Andy Tong, Dragon Pearl by Yoon-Ha Lee, Fairy Haven and the Quest for the Wand by Gail Carson Levin, The Power of Love, Mercury Rising, Mars Attacks, Eternal Sleep, Scouts on Film, Cellmates, and Diamonds Not Forever by Stuart J. Levy and Leanne Center. A Song to Drown Rivers by Anne Liang, A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim, Monstrous Volume 4, The Chosen, Monstrous of Volume 5, War Child, Monstrous Volume 6, The Vow, Monstrous Volume 7, Devourer, Escape from Aurora, and Rise of the World Eaters by Jamie Littler, Iron Number 4, The Power of 6, The Fall of 5, The Revenge of 7, and The Fate of 10 by Pittacus Lord, Otherworldly, and Love at Second Sight by F.T. Lukens, One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, Palo Santiago and the Forest of Nightmares, and Palo Santiago and the Sanctuary of Shadows by Taylor K. Mesha, The Flames of Albion by Jean Menzies, and Aphrodisia, Women, Sex, and Pleasure in the Classical World by Dr. Jean Menzies, Renegades, and Supernova by Marissa Mayer, The Fairy Bargain of Prospect Hill by Rowena Miller, Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Avonlea, Anne of the Island, Anne of Windy Willows, Anne's House of Dreams, Anne of Ingleside, Rainbow Valley, and Rilla of Ingleside by L.M. Montgomery, The Ravens, and The Monarchs by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page, Gideon the Ninth, and Harold the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, Flamefall, and Fury Song by Rosaria Munda, If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy, Binti the Complete Trilogy by Nendi Okorafor, The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen, The Once and Future Me by Melissa Pace, Aragon, Eldest, Brazinger, and Inheritance by Christopher Paolini, Anya and the Dragon by Sophia Pasternak, The Blueprint by Ray Gianni Rached, The Lightning Thief, the graphic novel, The Sea of Monsters graphic novel, The Titan's Curse graphic novel, The Lost Hero graphic novel, Camp Jupiter Classified, Brooklyn House Magician's Manual, Demigods and Magicians, The Kane Chronicles Survival Guide, The Serpent's Shadow, The Cursed Carnival and Other Calamities, and Wrath of the Triple Goddess by Rick Riordan. Didn't think that there were so many books by Rick Riordan I haven't read yet, have you? And there's also The Court of the Dead by Rick Riordan, but also Marcus Shiro as well. Slow Dance by Rainbow Rowell, Electra, Atalanta, and Hera by Jennifer Saint. Down Comes the Night, A Far Wilder Magic, A Fragile Enchantment, and A Dark and Drowning Tide by Alison Saft. Mistborn, The Well of Ascension, The Hero of Ages, and Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson. I love these paperbacks so much. Look how floppy that is. It's beautiful, and I love it. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Capitalists Must Starve by Parks de Leon, translated by Anton Hart. A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. Scythe by Neil Schusterman. Powerless by Elsie Silver. Tall Water by S.J. Sindhu and Dion M. B.D. The Raven Boys graphic novel by Maggie Stiefvater and adapted by Stephanie Williams. Call Down the Hawk and Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater. A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. Jade City by June C.L. Tan. The Poet Empress by Shen Tao. The Sunbearer Trials, and Celestial Monsters by Aidan Thomas, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien, Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend, For She Is Wrath by Emily Varga, Blood Over Brighthaven by L.M. Wang, The It Girl by Ruth Ware, Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver, The Martian by Andy Weir, Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White, Tell Me It's Right, Bloodless Ties, and Ruthless Ends by Katie Wismer, Wearing the Lion by John Riswell, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yaros, Fallen City by Adrian Young, and finally, if I have not missed any anyway, my last TBR book is Heavenly Tyrant by Jaren J. Zhao. So I have a lot to read if I want to get my TBR down to a reasonable amount for myself. This is definitely too high for me. I should do something about it. You know, like read. But I don't know how to do that. Great. Hopefully you enjoyed having a look into my TBR. I don't know when the last time was that I did this, but I feel like there's still a lot of the books that were on it previously that are still on it today. I don't want to think about it. It's fine, guys. I do not have a problem. If there was a book that you saw that I haven't read, please convince me to pick it up in the comments. That would be greatly appreciated. If there's a book that you're like, Mary, you're gonna hate that book, also put that in the comments. Because maybe I will decide to unhaul it. We'll have to see. So that is all I have for you today. I hope to see you sometime soon, but as always, I make no promises. Bye! Darda, blah blah blah. For ruined well, blah 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 blah. For and of window, and for Fury's